Welcome to the Texas Hemp Show podcast. This is podcast number 124 this week of the Texas Hemp Show. I'm Russell Daulton, publisher and editor for the Texas Hemp Reporter magazine. Currently, our April-May edition is floating around the state of Texas and the CBD stores and smoke shops available all throughout the Lone Star State. Got those down to San Antonio, Dallas, Houston, and Austin currently. So, good to do that. And podcast 124 this week on the show, welcoming in the new ESPN audience, tuning in for the first week here on as we've partnered back with our friends over at Waterloo Media. So good morning to all of those guys listening in on the ESPN. I'm Russell Daulton. I publish the Texas Hemp Reporter magazine, and then we do the Texas Hemp Show podcast. Joining me on this week on the show, I've got a couple of frequent guests to the program actually joining us on the show. Daulton O'Neill, founder of Greenlight Events up in Dallas, chiming in this week on the show, telling us a little bit about some events that he's got coming up, and then also Lucas Evans over at Earth Endeavor, and then later in the program will be Jay Maguire from the Texas Hemp Federation, kind of giving us a legislative update of all things going on down there at the 88th legislature as lawmakers look to make some changes, hopefully for the better, guys. But welcome. Let's bring in Daulton and say hi. How you doing, Daulton?
For having me, Russell. Excited to be on another episode of the Texas Hemp Reporter.
Yeah, thanks, man. Thanks for being on the show. And we've been bumping into you, kind of hanging out sometimes over there with J-Man. And you still booking some shows for Weed and Whiskey?
Yeah. That's the current mandate. We're looking for really fun folks to get on the show. And as you saw, the new studio in Austin, I think we're going to start going in between it. We actually have a meeting with him tomorrow to find out, the run of show and when we're going to start scheduling folks.
Yeah, it's really exciting. He wants to see if I might do a show down there once in a while because I'm in Austin. I'm kind of open to see what we explore with that opportunity. But that studio was beautiful. I got to see you over there on Wednesday afternoon. Or really, that was Tuesday, I guess, a day before yesterday. But very exciting opportunity down there. Those guys do a great job over there at Real News.
Yeah, the location's everything, booking guests. It's like, hey, come down to downtown and take a peep at the governor's mansion. At the very least, even if you didn't want to be on our show, you'd still have a good time. And it would leave a good, hypothetically, we messed up, which we never do. They'd still have a good experience. So it's not like they're in a, dark closet in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, this new studio has the background of the Capitol behind it. I posted a picture of J-Man and I sitting there at the broadcast desk the other day, and a very beautiful studio. So we're excited to be over there and get an opportunity to do those some shows ourselves over there with the Texas Hemp Show. So we're excited about moving forward with that. But you guys rubbed elbows with some players in the cannabis space. Tell us about that event. I missed out on that, but I knew you guys were going.
It was like a super last minute thing that I heard. We got reached out to by a couple folks from Vicente Cederberg, a law firm. I hope I'm saying that right, in Denver. And the Nelson family and Woody Harrelson got together to have a, legislature policy talk to see what we could do to move forward, kind of like a direct action fundraiser, trying to just push things forward, give updates. There was a historic hearing the next day. So I kind of just got the last minute invite. J-Man was in on it. And yeah, Woody was there. I mean, Woody is like a personal hero of mine and so many other folks. He's one of the original Hempsters.
Woody Harrelson.
Woody Harrelson. When he was in the movie Hempsters, he got arrested in Kentucky. Yeah. Oh, love that picture.
There you go. There you are with Woody himself there.
Yeah, we had to hunt him down. I thought he left, and I got all sad for a second. So I'm like, dude, I got to get your picture. Because the funniest thing, everybody's got a favorite Woody movie, but, Zombieland, the very first scene, it's like, hey, this isn't a shithole. It's just Garland, Texas. And, I grew up in Garland, Texas, and it was just kind of hilarious. That was like a big joke, because Zombieland was a big movie at the time. But Woody's like the original hempster getting arrested in Kentucky for planting industrial hemp seed, I think, in the early 2000s.
Mm-hmm.
And, it was just really cool to see him. It kind of rejuvenated, I know, me and some other folks. It wasn't open to the public or anything, but I think with the results they got, they'll probably be doing more stuff. I don't know with the Harrelsons involved, but they'll probably do more events like that.
Our second guest, Lucas, we're both at the recent Earth X down there. Can you tell us how did that turn out? What was the experience like there for the Dallas Earth X that was a weekend before?
EarthX was great. It's one of the largest environmental trade shows and expos, bringing together for-profit companies, nonprofit companies, and governmental agencies. And we had a really good hemp turnout. We had Morris from NoCo bring down and run the hemp general store. It actually was freezing on Sunday. He almost sold out of hemp hoodies. You wouldn't think people were buying a bunch of hoodies in late April in Texas, but it was so darn cold that he was selling them like left and right. I'd like to know how many hoodies he sold on Sunday. We had, Ray from the Hemp Builders Association
Hmm.
bring a lot of really good setup. There was a lot of real estate and construction people in Dallas walking around the show. We had a built environment conference, so I know on firsthand that a lot of real estate and construction builders walked through and saw specifically the hemp wood product that folks are a little excited about. And it was just a good show, man. It was a good
Yeah.
show. It's not as much about the CBD and the cannabinoids. We had some of that there, and I think all the exhibitors that I talked to were pretty pumped about it. So it's fun show, Earth Day in Dallas, and it was good getting everybody together.
Well, we're working with your team on a new cover for the June edition of the Texas Hemp Reporter. You've got your annual event that you do with the Texas Roundup. Are you starting to get folks booked for this? I understand it's going to be in August this year, but we're partnering with you on covering this and trying to get some of the maybe speakers that you've got lined up and maybe promote this with you in the magazine. Or you want to talk a little bit about what you've got coming up?
Yeah, we're about to go all in, Russell, and I appreciate it. We're excited to work with you on this. Like when I first met you, I said, "Hey, we want to do a cover, but just it's got to be the right time and the right thing." And the Texas Cannabis Roundup is going to be in August, either 10th or 17th. We're
Hmm.
debating on the date right now,
Hmm.
still, but it's about 105, 110 days away. And it's going to be fun, man. We're going to have a couple of exhibitors. We're going to open that back room. It's going to be at the Longhorn Ice House over there in Irving. The Texican Hotel is like the perfect place to stay. You got Red River, one of the largest saloons, honky tonks in Dallas. It's like second biggest other than Billy Bob's in Fort Worth. We've got a couple speakers already announced and a couple sponsors. I'm really about to get that out to folks and see who wants to participate. We've gotten really lucky with the laws not getting slammed shut on us just yet. It's
Hmm.
always nerve-wracking as an event promoter to throw an event and all of a sudden, let's say they just change all the laws right before the event. We're really lucky to have a good partnership with Longhorn Ice House. They want us, we want them. It's on a Thursday night. We always joke that, dude, Russell, you know how hard it is to get you to come on a Saturday? Impossible. But
Yeah.
Thursday, you might make it. And so we're hoping to give everybody a long weekend, everybody take Friday off or at least take a half day. And it's going to be a good time. We're rounding up the Texas cannabis industry.
That's right.
And, I hate to promote it like that because everybody's got conferences and this, and we do a little bit different. We promote business, B2B. It's really tailored towards, cannabis and hemp executives that want to meet other people in the supply chain, meet their buyer, meet distribution. I mean, we're gonna, I bet we at least have like 150 stores,
Well, we
co- like collectively, with chains and I'm being pretty, conservative on that because we're gonna have, the biggest processors, biggest chain stores, and some of the biggest products. Like they're already told me they're coming, so
Well,
everything.
we were there last year in Dalton, and it was a huge success. It was a lot of fun. You get to meet new people in the space. There were folks that I met that I know now that I met at that event. So the Texas Cannabis Roundup really puts together folks that are in this space, and from that B2B professional, you get to hear speakers. It's also a lot of fun as well. But last year you did it on a Wednesday, which I like that you're doing these on Wednesdays and Thursdays because everybody has plans on the weekend. So you just
Right.
come up to Dallas for on a Wednesday night or Thursday and come hang out. We got there at 5 o'clock on Wednesday last year.
It gives me a little bit of anxiety when you're, like, driving on a Saturday, there's people's kids' baseball games, there's bachelor parties, there's weddings. I don't wanna put you in a tough spot of, are you gonna come to the coolest Texas cannabis event of the year or, go to your kid's baseball game? I don't wanna put you in that spot. So, everybody can come enjoy a Thirsty Thursday, and actually, Russell, I just booked a Smoke and Fish charter So I'm going on May 25th to go smoke and fish with that guy. So hopefully we get that captured and maybe play a little bit. We think the run of show is going to be about an hour. It's all about just bringing people together, meeting folks. Sunlight's the best disinfectant. And, we like to have a party. We like to get people together. The conferences are great. We'll have a couple speakers, but it's really get in and get out.
I'm going to go to commercial break, Daulton, but fire off the website. How can folks get in touch with you to learn more about the Roundup?
Yeah. Go to, Facebook. We have an event launch. You go to greenlighteventsco.com, Instagram, Texas Cannabis Roundup. Tickets are going to be for sale on Event High, most likely. So just check it out. It's stuff should be coming out, like second week of May.
Well, very cool. Thank you so much. You guys stay right there. We're going to take a commercial break. This is the Texas Hemp Show here on ESPN 1027. We'll be back on the other side.
The Texas Hemp Show is brought to you by your friends at CBD Pros USA, your cannabis experts. Right now, you can save 50% off any one product if you mention the Texas Hemp Show. That's right, 50% off anything on the online store menu. Nano Tincture, watermelon gummies, our Brio Drift moisturizing cream, any single item, 50% off. That's CBD Pros. CBD is present in more significant quantities in hemp than marijuana. And because it's non-psychoactive, CBD is widely regarded as the cannabinoid with the most health potential by researchers. If you'd like to learn more about CBD and our products at CBD Pros, you can read our education page and browse some of our products to learn more. Visit CBDProsUSA.com. That's CBDProsUSA.com.
Smile Wellness is a proud sponsor of the Texas Hemp Show and has earned a reputation for creating future-minded CBD and Delta innovations. From broad-spectrum CBD to a wide variety of recreational products, Smile offers the best experience while matching the needs of consumers across the board. Are you a fan of edibles? The Smile connection of in-demand hemp-derived goodies are bursting with flavor, fun to consume, drive long-lasting results, and provide just the right amount of cannabinoid doses. Check out the variety of potent Delta 9 gushers, Delta 8 chocolate malt balls, space rings, and nerd-like candy clusters. Smilin has also unveiled a new line of functional and euphoric mushrooms that provide powerful and pure solutions to nurture the body and elevate the mind. Stay tuned for the biggest launch of the year, Mushroom Life. Go to smilinwellness.com, SMILYN wellness.com.
We took the best journalists from politics, health, innovations, cuisine, business, travel, agriculture, and then we put weed in it. Welcome to Weed and Whiskey News. Weed and Whiskey News. News with a twist.
Texas lawmakers are in session this year to improve or alter laws on cannabis and hemp products. So stay tuned this legislative season with the Texas Hemp Show, Saturdays at 8 a.m. on ESPN 102.7. Or download the Texas Hemp Show wherever podcasts are available. The Texas Hemp Show is the official podcast for the Texas Hemp Reporter magazine. The Texas Hemp Show is sponsored by CBD Pros, your cannabis experts. That's the Texas Hemp Show, Saturdays at 8 a.m. on ESPN Austin.
Last 100 days, when I don't get my bath, I take it out on the sleighs. So grease up your baby for a ball on the hill.
Welcome back to the Texas Hemp Show. This is podcast number 124 this week on the show. I'm Russell Daulton, the publisher and editor for the Texas Hemp Reporter magazine. And we cover Texas hemp and cannabis news here in the Lone Star State. The magazines are available all across Texas, and you can find us in the CBD stores, smoke shops around Austin. You can pick these up around town. You can see them. They're in Houston. They're in Dallas. We're in San Antonio as well as the Austin, Texas area. But that's our publication, the Texas Hemp Reporter. Check us out online at the TexasHempReporter.com as well. And That's our news magazine that we've been doing now for 3 years. Joining us this week on the show is Lucas Evans, founder of E3 Agriculture.
Here, but obviously working on hemp has been all of my time the last 3 years. So I'm always impressed with the program that you put together and really watching these commercials on here, the people and just the level of media and organization is kind of maturing, it's real. So
Yeah.
I appreciate the time.
Yeah, no, thank you for coming on. I had a hole in the spot this week, so all you guys accommodated. This week's show is the first show that's on our new ESPN listening audience this week, so we're welcoming in everybody on the Saturday morning show. But hey man, you guys are doing some cool things. That your name's been coming up in the circles here and there, and I think we ran across you on something on social media a couple of weeks ago, and I told you, I said, hey, let's get you back on and tell us about what you guys got cooking out there, because I've heard about some progress that you're making out there in the industrial side. And I just thought, hey, let's check in with Lucas, and it's been a year or two since we had you on, so I thought we'd check in with you and tell us what you got going on out there. You were also at EarthX with Daulton out there a few weeks ago, last week as well, weren't you?
Yeah, totally. A lot has happened since the last time I was on this call. This is show 124, so I think I was like 59 or something.
It's been a while.
So we'll get a good update here, but so we had a very successful first 2 years. This will be our third full year of trying industrial hemp in Texas. And we're going to go for about 300 acres. About 1/3 of that's going to be pretty local within Taylor, Texas. It's just northeast of Austin, about 30 minutes. And our farm and operation is located out here in Laneport. And we're about 80% of the way planting. We're always a little bit behind. Trying to get seeds is still a challenge. We are a good source for seeds if anybody needs help looking for them on the industrial hemp side of it. But so we're getting geared up for another exciting year, and supplying a lot of green builders. And like I said, maturing and kind of mass adoption have been my two key words, I think, the last 6 months here.
Mm-hmm.
And hemp is really kind of growing up as an industry and certainly becoming a mainstream subject, to the point that EarthX had it featured pretty standalone in between DFW airport and, waste management and the like, so it's kind of fulfilling so far what we've set out to do. And, it takes people like yourself spreading the word. I mean, I'm looking at this like I need to get a good commercial, which we're talking about doing a big public campaign here in the next few months. So just got to get through planting.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you next. Are you starting your planting process out there at your grow operation in Taylor, Texas? Is that everybody plants differently on their scheduling, but it seems like June is the time most people have pretty much already got seeds in the ground by June.
Totally, yeah. I mean, our real window is between end of March, beginning of April, and then about middle of May.
Mm-hmm.
By June, if you kind of miss those rains, which we've been blessed with the last couple of weeks, couldn't have been a day later, but we got the rains that we needed. And so, we'll be finished up here in the next 10 days with planting. Hopefully by May 5th really is when we're hoping to be done with it. So, we don't irrigate here. So we're dry land, blackland prairie. We've got deep soils that retain a good bit of moisture, so we're fortunate. But we need rain, so whatever prayers and dances you have in store, keep it up, guys.
Well, we've certainly got a little bit of it here in the last week or so. Certainly last night and the day before. But can you talk about the genetics that you're using for this season? Anything particular? Do you mind sharing that, or is that kind of top secret, Lucas, with what you have planned for your 2023 grow operation out there?
It's not top secret, but we do consult. We offer that as a service and are happy to work with area farmers. I don't have agreements with the seed companies, so I won't say exactly.
Okay.
But I'll tell you they're from overseas, and I mean Chinese really, and Australian. So we'll narrow narrow it down to 2 giant countries.
Mhm.
But nonetheless, those kind of regions and those lineages are consistent. And so that's, what seems to be working here in Texas. They were good for us last year through a really hard drought. We're, going with it. And I mean, I could take y'all out to the field right now. I mean, we've got good emergence. So as far as seed germination, it's above 85%, and they're already about 3 or 4 inches tall. So we're kind of off to the races.
Well, I need to come out there and see you. We're right here in Round Rock, and I just got to go down 79 to visit you out there in Taylor. And I think I want to do that here before the next come for the magazine, Lucas, comes out in June. So that would be my 3rd anniversary edition. But sure would be kind of cool to, come out there and take some pictures and see what you guys are doing out there. You're not that
totally. And I should say right now, I've got a good team, and we've been putting together a lot of engagements and really going to be proactive. We've been kind of on the defense, frankly, just because of how much demand that this industry has put upon us. In terms of industrial hemp across the board, you're talking about, plastics to animal feed and everything in between. And so, we've been really just trying to catch up with that and starting to get ahead. And we are going to be having a field day and workshop at the end of June, beginning of July. We're thinking that weekend before July 4th. And we're going to finalize that in the next few days. But we'll get Texas A&M agronomists. We're going to have some commodities exchange people. And then we're going to be talking about building with hemp. So we're going to take it from basically seed to construction or finished product. And, it'll be a holistic weekend out here at the farm. Come out, bring your tents. We're right next to Granger Lake State Park. And so we'll be putting out some stuff on there. We might put it in the magazine, honestly.
That's really cool. And that's one of the things folks know they're, I know, and our listeners on the ESPN side, they're probably familiar with CBD products from the sports arena and that area, because a lot of athletes use that. But, building with hemp, that's becoming popular. Are there very many structures in the Central Texas area that have been erected with the hempcrete? I know that Henry Valles did a project with some guys in East Austin a few years ago, didn't he? There's a couple of building structures that are out there that are made of hempcrete, and that's going to be huge once we get more, home builders start building with hempcrete. I mean, isn't that exciting?
Yeah, totally. So, I mean, we work really closely with Texas A&M on all of this. I mean, they're fired up about it. They just got a $3.7 million grant to study 3D printing with hemp.
Wow.
So, I mean, yeah, that's kind of where that's headed. But then really to talk about EarthX, I mean, that was kind of the main focus there. And like Daulton said, I mean, there were real-time construction firms who, we followed up with, who were like, we want to get in on a new building material that's natural. And Austin's a perfect place for it, but, really there's not been much innovation in construction other than like what more fossil fuel poison can you spray in your house and stuff. And,
right.
So this is like a really new kind of cutting edge building material. And I mean, I spend most of my times with architects in Austin. We work really closely with one, Caroline Dunn at BioBuild, but then also Moon Tower Architects. And, Henry Valles and his organization is obviously a pioneer here.
Stay right there, Lucas. Yeah. We're going to take another quick commercial break. We'll jump. We're going to come right back. Continue our conversation with Lucas Evans. This is the Texas Hemp Show, podcast 124. We'll be right back on the other side.
To the future.
Howdy, folks. Welcome to Weed and Whiskey News. I'm your host, J-Man. I got a bunch of stocks, pot stocks, regular stocks. They've been all suffering.
But in fact, it was making marijuana illegal that created the crime.
You smoke a little every now and then?
when I am in a legal state.
Pothead, he's also a co-star in there. You'll see him all the time, every time.
And not everybody has orange Cheeto dust on their fingers because they use cannabis, right?
I am not from this world, but this guitar is. You will be able to win this guitar for Christmas.
As always, I'm your host, J-Man. See you again real soon.
Hey, this is Cheech Marin, and you're listening to the Texas Hemp Show.
The Texas Hemp Show is brought to you by your friends at CBD Pros USA, your cannabis experts. Right now, you can save 50% off any one product if you mention the Texas Hemp Show. That's right, 50% off anything on the online store menu. Nano Tincture, watermelon gummies, our Brio Drift moisturizing cream, any single item, 50% off. That's CBD Pros. CBD is present in more significant quantities in hemp than marijuana. And because it's non-psychoactive, CBD is widely regarded as the cannabinoid with the most health potential by researchers. If you'd like to learn more about CBD and our products at CBD Pros, you can read our education page and browse some of our products to learn more. Visit CBDProsUSA.com. That's CBDProsUSA.com. Now, back to the show with your host, Russell Daulton.
All right, welcome back to the Texas Hemp Show. This is podcast 124 this week. I'm Russell Dowden, your host, publisher for the Texas Hemp Reporter magazine. We're going to continue our conversation with Lucas Evans of the Earth Endeavor. Lucas is growing hemp out in Taylor, Texas, and we're learning more about what the things you can do with hemp. We're very excited to see maybe about opportunities with industrial hemp grow operations. I think this is very exciting and an unexplored part of the market that we're all very anxious to see more of what we can do with industrial hemp and building and maybe even talking into plastics and biofuels and things like this. There's a lot of things we can do with this plant. It's a very amazing time for Texans, and we just are excited that we cover this. And Lucas is knee deep, literally, in hemp out there. As we were talking about before the commercial break, Lucas, about Henry and some of the things that he's done out there. You can build with this, and not everybody knows that you can build with hempcrete. You can do a lot of different things besides just the medicinal side of the plant that we've all become familiar with the last few years here in Texas. But there's so much more.
Yeah, totally. Hempcrete is probably our main product right now. We move the most material right here. Mm-hmm. That's headed out to actually a project in Austin, and Austin's a very ideal economy for this, right? You have a bunch of excess wealth and green dreams, and that coupled with really a lack of natural materials available on the market to build with. Hemp and the derivatives from it, from the hemp wool, hemp wood, which are two great companies, and then hempcrete. And there's workshops popping up all over America. I need to shout out my guys at Winona Hemp Co. Come and smoke it. My guy Hunter, he hauled some of our tree bar. So we have a rebar alternative derived from plants with some hemp in it. And so we're starting to play with it on a really kind of advanced level and trying to be able to compete with the big players in industry, and that's the only way that hemp's going to become relevant. And I'll say that, serious farmers are very interested in this. I mean, they understand the future. Like A&M is really fully committed to this plant. We talk to farmers who have 15, 30,000 acres and farm for HEB, and they're like, hey, let's get in on this for a protein standpoint from hemp grain and seed for people and cattle to, the fiber, which is obviously our dream, to make an American flag or a Texan flag out of hemp, So we're getting there. But
well, Lucas, you talk about the industrial space, but who are the really big players in industrial in Texas right now? Can you spot out just a shout off a couple that comes to mind in the larger scale of everything?
Well, and Texas is so big, and there are so many people and money here that some of these people pop up and they've got they're on step Y. They're 10 years ahead of everybody, and so there's a few. I think everyone's still trying to work through it, but there's Delta Ag up in Lubbock.
Yeah.
I know there's Tetra Hemp down in Harlingen, right there near Mexico, and then you've got Panda Biotech, which we've been hearing a lot about. I haven't seen anything.
Yeah, I haven't. No, it's just funny you mentioned them because I spoke to the senior vice president of agriculture at Panda Biotech earlier in the week. His name is Serge Salinas, and I spoke to him, and he said, Russell, we're really just what we're doing is we're just still focused on building out our facility. I know they're working with farmers, and they've got a program that they can offer and grow. Work with them on the seeds and planting. They've got some different programs that they are offering, but he just told me, the other day that they were just still basically focused on completing their build out up there. And I do want to get John at Tetra Hemp on the show in a couple of weeks. I have a slot reserved for John to be profiled in the June issue of the magazine. So a couple of those names are familiar with me. At least I'm familiar with them.
These guys need attention. We need, I know they're doing hard work. I mean, I get it. It's full time out here trying to make it happen, but they certainly are doing the Lord's work. We need to really increase that processing infrastructure, which is not easy. We haven't made anything in America in like the last 40 years. And so hemp provides a real opportunity to fire up these old gens. And that's what we're doing here in Taylor. This used to be a huge cotton market and an economy, and it kind of tapered. So we're taking advantage of it like others,
Yeah, let listeners know that are new to this space that why should people get involved in being part of the hemp scene in Texas? Why get involved in this?
Yeah, it's kind of the next best thing in farming.
Yeah, that's right.
We still farm a lot, and so from a food to fiber and fuel standpoint, just from basic growth and efficiencies, it is going to compete with corn and cotton and maize and grain and wheat. So if you just think 1 in every 10 farmers tries this, that's like 1.4 million acres. And so there's going to be lots of material. There are obviously all of these end products that we talk about. And we get people all the time from the last industry you would ever think of being like, hey, can we have this part of your hemp plant? We're talking with a group that, puts like the red paint on ships, on tankers and stuff. And so there's really just not a lot of farmers, and we need food, and we need like sustainable materials to kind of fill our demand. We're kind of an insatiable species, and so we just got to kind of feed that with not fossil fuels.
Can you talk about how much or how big you're planting this year? Is that something you want to share with us on the show? I was just curious how many acres are you planting up there in Taylor?
Right immediately we have about 60 acres connected. And then we're working with A&M. They're going to be we're sponsoring a crop with them at the Stiles Farm Foundation, which will be open to the public. You can go over there. We're open to the public pretty much. We're right off of a county road. And then we're kind of contracting with about 200 other acres. And so, yeah, it's pretty straightforward economics. We need legislatures to get on board with this because they subsidize the hell out of corn and everything else that we know is not the best for us. And so keeping an eye on that and then letting us grow it, and kind of making it easier on these farmers because they're not going to go through the process to get 7 licenses and have a controlled substance that they need to manifest every time they pick it up and move it. There's no telling when you have to get out here and it's going to rain and you need to move product. And so, I think there's still there's a ton of work left to do, but now is the right time to get in on it. And the Texan spirit, let's get it, guys.
Get it going. Let me ask you, and we've got a minute or two here, but we'll wrap with you on this segment. But I wanted to ask, were you part of any speaking down at the legislative? Were you down there talking with legislatures at all recently?
Yeah, we tried to. Alyssa Nolan put that together with the Texas Hemp Coalition, which is a great organization for any people getting into this to get started with. But it was a legislative day for hemp, and I was there kind of representing the farmers and industrial processors, and there's real interest. I mean, they understand the potential here, and everything. What do they say about Texas? Everything's bigger in Texas, and so we're going to come on the scene in a big way with industrial hemp. So,
well, how can folks learn more about your work and the good things that you're doing out there? You've got this, I guess you call it a field day coming up in July. Tell folks how they can come out there and see the good work Lucas Evans does out there in Taylor, Texas.
Yeah, so we're going to have this field day. Thanks again, Russell, always, for putting this on. But it'll be June 30th to July 1st, the weekend right before July 4th. It'll be out here in Taylor. It's going to be a field day workshop, 2 nights, 3 days. You'll get to see pretty much the whole process from seed to processing to a building. We're going to actually build and outfit a bathroom.
Yeah, let's build an outhouse out there.
That's what we're doing. We're going to put it on wheels. We're going to put it on wheels and then be able to rent that out for events. But and then our website is texashempprocessors.net. That's easy to remember if you're just interested in the hemp processing. texashempprocessors.net. And then check out the earthendeavor.com. That's kind of my overarching mission and organization, and see some of the work that I do outside of hemp. But you'd be surprised how hemp kind of touches just about everything that we do. And so I really encourage everyone to get involved in this, keep up with the Hemp Reporter, and check me out. I have Instagram, Lucas Noble, and Texas Hemp Processors on Instagram.
Well, you certainly are the real deal. You are a local boy from here in Central Texas. You graduated there at Southwestern in Georgetown. You've made some progress out there. We've made some progress in the last few years since we've known each other. So it's just really good to grow in this space together.
100%, man. I appreciate it. We're well on our way to a bright green future. So,
well, very, very cool.
I can help.
We'll make it happen, and we'll be talking with you about that event you're going to have in July. You just let me know when you're having that, and we'll be sure to come out there and support you guys.
Excellent.
All right.
Thank you so much.
There goes Lucas Evans from Taylor, Texas, chiming in here on the Texas Hemp Show podcast. I'm Russell. We're going to take another quick break. We'll come back to talk a little more legislative update with our friend Jay Maguire at the Texas Hemp Federation and see how things are shaking up down there on Congress Avenue here in Austin. We'll be right back. More Texas Hemp Show after this.
Big Sky Scientific is offering Texas farmers an opportunity to partner and grow with one of the largest extractors in the world. If you have grown hemp in the past and are looking to grow this season, Big Sky Scientific would love to help you grow your operation and create a long-term partnership. We are offering farmers some of the most competitive prices on the market for their hemp. Planting is rapidly approaching and available partnerships are limited, so don't delay. Big Sky Scientific is a large hemp extractor and wholesale manufacturer of CBD crude, distillate, and isolate. We sell to some of the largest names in the industry and are known for our unparalleled quality. Call Big Sky Scientific for more information about our farming partnerships and high-quality CGMP certified CBD products. Call Big Sky Scientific at 406-578-4900. That's 406-578-4900. Big Sky Scientific.
Hemp-derived cannabinoids such as Delta-8 and others are once again under threat in the Texas legislature. But hometown hero, a supporter of the Texas Hemp Show, is leading the fight to keep these products legal and available for adults 21 and older in the Lone Star State. Based in Austin, Hometown Hero is known for its specialty hemp-derived products, which have garnered recognition from High Times magazine and have earned over 3,000 5-star reviews and counting. With their gummies, cereal bars, sour belts, and more, Hometown Hero offers new and novel experiences while donating to nonprofits helping U.S. veterans in need. If you're curious to try premium hemp products from the people leading the fight for hemp in Texas, you can get a 20% discount on all Hometown Hero products by using code THR20 at hometownherocbd.com. That's code THR20 at hometownherocbd.com.
Hey, this is Tommy Chong, and you're listening to the Texas Hemp Show.
The Texas Hemp Reporter is available free at over 1,000 CBD and smoke shops across Texas, McAllen, Houston, Austin, Dallas, Lubbock, and San Antonio. Texas lawmakers will be in session this year to improve or alter laws on cannabis products. So stay tuned and informed this legislative season with the Texas Hemp Show podcast and the Texas Hemp Reporter magazine. Would you like to host the Texas Hemp Show podcast at your business or special event? Now booking live broadcasts from your location with our new demo vehicle, the Texas Green Machine. Email Russell at texashempreporter@gmail.com. Now back to the show with your host, Russell Daulton.
On a long, lonesome highway east of Omaha, you can listen to the engine moaning out his one old song. You can think about the woman or the girl you knew the night before. But your thoughts were so.
All right, welcome back to the Texas Hemp Show. I'm Russell with the Texas Hemp Reporter magazine, and we are back talking a little bit of legislative movement, and our next segment is going to be with our friend Jay Maguire from the Texas Hemp Federation. Jay chimes in once in a blue moon here on the show and gives us an update with legislative movement there currently in the 88th legislative session, and Jay can give us an update there with the Texas Hemp Federation and some of the things that he's working on. So let's bring in Jay Maguire from Texas Hemp Federation. Welcome back to the Hemp Show, Jay. How are you, man?
Russell, I'm just peachy keen. I'd be busy even if there were two of me, because we're at that point at the end of the legislative cycle where things are getting really heated, and you've got two chambers with two processes, and things are moving like two sets of roller coasters.
Yeah.
At some point, the cars on those roller coasters move over to the other one. So we're in a position now where we've got a bill, not one of the main bills that we have talked about in the past, Russell. We've been very concerned about Senator Perry's what we sort of loosely call the ban bill, because it is intended to eliminate Delta 8 and other cannabinoids from the market in Texas. And the House analog of that bill, or the House companion bill, which is sponsored by Chair Click. The bill that I want to talk to you all about today is House Bill 2818 by Briscoe Kane of Deer Park, Texas, our nemesis in Pasadena, I have to point out. Not Representative Kane, but Deer Park itself. That bill, and if you remember early on in the session, I explained to you the importance of the first paragraph of every bill is referred to as the caption. Mm-hmm. The language in the caption describes what that bill is for. And if the language in that caption is related enough, or in the term of legislative parlance is germane, you can amend that germane language into it. And here's my concern. We're getting very late in the legislative cycle, and the Representative Click only has next week and the week after to take up her bill and have a full hearing on it with public testimony.
1805.
And likewise, That's correct. And Senator Perry has the same situation. And so I have begun to suspect that those hearings might not happen at all, because all Senator Perry will have to do after House Bill 2818 passes tomorrow, it will be on the House calendar. They may not vote on it tomorrow, but it is on the House calendar tomorrow, general state calendar. And that bill goes over to the Senate. It could be amended, just like Senator Perry took his introduced version last session, had the hearing, substituted in more refined language that was actually worse for our industry, and then moved that bill or that bill with that language. I think maybe we might be seeing something very similar afoot. I don't have any information about whether Representative Kane wants this to happen or not. I'll point out that Senator Perry is carrying the Senate companion to this bill. And so here's what I think. That bill goes over to the Senate. It is referred immediately to Senator Perry's committee. We're so late in the session that we have a 24-hour posting rule to begin with, but we may see him ask for the full Senate to suspend the rules so that he can take it up immediately. And in that rush, it will be very difficult for concerned parties like industry, like consumers, manufacturers, everybody who has an interest in this fight. Very difficult for us to get organized enough to be there when he brings the bill in front of his committee. And just something, a lot of people don't know this, typically tend to meet in the Betty King room, which is behind the Senate chamber off the hallway, named after the very gracious Secretary of the Senate, who would never have approved of any of the shenanigans that seem to go on these days with the name calling and the whatnot. The Betty King room is not accessible while the Senate is in session. So I suspect we may find ourselves iced out of the public process. And that, of course, is a desirable thing for anybody trying to pass a controversial bill, because when you've got a room full of people who are hostile to what you're trying to do, it tends to drag the process on.
Yeah.
Okay. I know this is a process heavy point, but you got to get it. Those groups that want to have an impact need to pay attention to this bill and any other bill with a germane caption, because they may find that they're not able to get to the Capitol quick enough to get their people in front of them on the mics to give their 2 or 4 minutes. Senator Perry could hypothetically substitute in really bad ban language because it's germane to the caption. He could have that voted out of that committee that night, and he could have it sent to the Senate floor with the, of course, the blessing of the Lieutenant Governor, who determines all those things.
Right.
And then finally pass it. And if that happens, guys, we'll never have a public hearing on the substance of what Senator Perry wants to do, which is to end Delta 8 and everything else that we're deriving from hemp in our gummies and our vapes and other products. Well, that bill will go back to the House. And the House has 2 choices. Anytime this happens, either chamber, it can say, yep, we agree with you, Senate, we'll accept your amendments. Or it can say, we refuse to concur with your amendments and let's have a conference committee. The reason I strongly suspect that House will be motivated to concur is that the teacup expansion bill is still out there. And you may have seen, if you've been following some of the reporting about the legislature generally, not on this specific issue, is that the chambers are feuding with each other. We've kind of entered that Cold War period where bills are being taken hostage. And it could absolutely be the case that teacup expansion is held hostage.
Well, historically, House passed cannabis
until and unless they concur. So that's my worry.
Well, historically, House passed cannabis legislation has been stalled out by opposite changer when it's presided over by anti-legislative Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick. So we'll see.
Well, let me say this: teacup is. I view it as a must-pass from the point of view of Chair Click and maybe the Speaker. I think he's taken a position on it. And so they're going to be in this terrible position where they've got to accept something that Perry really, really wants, which is the end of us, in favor of, a somewhat mediocre expansion of a mediocre program.
Well,
I think your viewers need to get this now, today, that if they had planned on waiting to contact their members and to pay attention and to speak up, emails and phone calls, and if you happen to be able to get to the Capitol, go and visit, do it now, because that bill will be eligible for Senator Perry to adapt to his purposes as soon as it passes tomorrow.
There hasn't been any debate on the House floor on Stephanie Click's bill. That looks like that's moving forward.
Yes, sir. I believe that will be the case.
Yeah. Well, what is your biggest concern, is that the language in Senator Perry's bill?
The introduced bill is not ever the final version of the bill.
Right.
If you remember last legislative session, we had an introduced bill that we knew was not good for our sector of the industry. But the committee substitute that he laid out in the hearing, and remember the hearing in which he compared us to the cartels and was extremely hostile towards our side, was far worse. He had even floated ideas about banning things as broadly as CBD because he's that concerned about, quote, synthetic cannabinoids, evoking a completely misleading comparison to K2 and spice. We're not anywhere in that category. And so people tend to utilize the same patterns. I think what we're going to see is he's going to find a vehicle bill, 2018 may be it. He's going to tack on the language that's going to try to kill us. And that is the bill that will move.
Well, what do you think?
That's my concern.
When is the final day, Jay, of legislative session? When does that end? In late May?
Yeah, the legislature adjourned sine die, which is Latin, which is a Texas Pig Latin for without another day, on May 31st. Typically, though, there are procedural deadlines in the upcoming weeks. So if I mentioned to you the last day for the House to vote out a House bill out of committee is the 8th, and that would be the last opportunity for Chair Click to move her bill out of her committee. And we have not yet seen a posting for this coming week for the 1st. We would expect to see one. So we don't know whether or not that bill is going to get heard, between now and then. We don't know if it's going to be amended onto another bill.
Well,
just don't let the shell game of bill numbers being kind of switched around fool you into thinking that we're safe if you don't see that there's a hearing with a lot of reporting and a lot of hue and cry about it.
Well, certainly a lot of moving parts. Jay, tell us how folks can get in touch with you there at the Texas Hemp Federation and learn more about and support your organization.
Absolutely. If you're a manufacturer, a distributor, a retailer, or a consumer, you're a laboratory or a farmer, I want you to call me at 512-954-8054 or email me at Maguire, and that's MAGUIRE at TexasHempFederation.com. I'm glad to take as much time as I have available to explain to you why this is a lot worse than it might appear, and also explain to you how the Texas Hemp Federation, among other advocacy organizations, have a plan, and we're all doing a good job and are all doing our parts. But we do need industry to engage.
Well, thank you so much, Jay. It's always great to get a little update from you and have your perspective here on the Texas Hemp Show. I appreciate it, and we're going to follow up with you here in another week or two and see what other movement changes as legislative sessions continue there down at the Capitol. Thank you for your time, Jay.
Russell, thanks a lot. Always a pleasure to be on your show.
Awesome. Thank you. Well, guys, that's all the time I've got this week. We'll be back next week on the program. We're going to have our friends on from Canna Spyglass, followed by our friends over at CBD Pros. Thank you guys for tuning in. It's the Texas Hemp Show. We'll see you next time.
Did old Hank really do it this way? Thought I've seen the world with a 5-piece band, looking at the backside of me.
I don't think Hank done 'em this way. Take it on.